Welcome back to r/NPD, our weekly series of assisting and providing professional support for the users of the Narcissistic Support Group subreddit. I'm Sophia Vandermeer, a mind and wellbeing coach, author, NLP practitioner and cognitive behavioural specialist. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Today's first case comes from, and I apologise if I get this wrong, Erin Anel Zoboy. I have every trait of NPD. Except jealousy and control in relationships. I'm truly a neat guy with a lot of good things, but I'm always arrogant, self-righteous, and I always despise people. Everything is white or black, etc. But I've never been jealous of other guys. On the contrary, I always leave my girlfriend or friend a lot of freedom. But I'm a textbook NPD with a lot of toxic behaviour, and I'm even proud sometimes about my behaviour, and I feel powerful. And I'm not an expert on this issue, but if anyone could give me some insight. What's worth noting here is the diagnosis of exclusion. While it's a well-known platitude that one cannot prove a negative, this user seems to be attempting to do just that. However, we're given that the OP perceives as evidence to the contrary to the label of narcissistic personality disorder in the form of a placed contradiction. Individuals adhere to an inner monologue or narrative that best suits their worldview, often using examples from physical reality to justify one's existence within their own thematic view of the universe. An example of this may be a person financially failing but achieving accolades in their employment or education. It is a flawed and hypocritical mindset to depict oneself as justified based purely on the highest merits while intentionally discounting areas of fault. While the OP here is a little different, the suppositions he puts forth in order to contradict the diagnosis are all related to his treatment of another human being. As stated prior, they justify their abstract self-image based on provable reality. The line, "accept jealousy and control in relationships," while admirable, is also utterly nondescript as to be irrelevant, especially when taken with the sentiment that I'm a truly unique guy with a lot of good things. None of this means anything. People view themselves as good, the world turns, the sun rises, water is wet. The fact that even now you seek vindication from a label you adhere to yourself tells me that while you look at what physical evidence is present, you cannot disprove the diagnosis. Lacking external validation, you come here to seek some online help. You're the scantily clad girl claiming depression for attention. If your mindset is that the words of others prop up your sense of self, then you need to reevaluate your core values. Narcissism in this manner, telling yourself you're avoiding it based on a few beholden and forced truths, isn't escapable. You can be better. Acting long enough the way you describe yourself, intentionally lacking jealousy, providing a societal benefit, and not acting on narcissistic impulse will lead you away from the path of the disorder. Narcissists can't change how they feel, but they can change how they act. How much obviousness they act with, that's all within their control. Narcissists often exhibit high degrees of self-control, especially in the covert kind. Fake the smile long enough and it'll become real. Stare too long into the abyss, however, and it'll stare back. Our next post comes from a former user, fellow idiot, who says, "I completely relate to that and simply think about it as a huge blow to my ego. I want to know if any of you guys can relate to that too." They then link to the comment from trashy, which reads, "It's called narcissistic trespass. Many narcissists and gaslighters enjoy getting away with violating rules and social norms. Examples of narcissistic trespass include cutting in line, chronic under-tipping, personal space intrusion, borrowing items without returning, using others' property without asking, disobeying traffic laws, breaking appointments, and negating promises." It's hardly uncommon for an individual to want to feel special. Everyone does. In this modern era of attention seeking, there are far more morally bankrupt options utilised by those without the disorder to gain a sense of self-worth. People will make up mental illnesses or otherwise expose people to misconceptions about dangerous mental illnesses in order to validate the idea that they are somehow worth more than anyone else. While narcissism is largely frowned upon in society, there is an innocence with which a narcissist is honest to themselves about their intentions. Unlike so many groups on the internet pretending to be something that they're not, a full-blown narcissist will rarely lie to themselves. This narcissistic trespass is an assertion of power, a display of dominance and a betterment, but rather being derived of a convoluted denial. It comes from a physical and provable advantage to view themselves as better than others. Like the child who points out the teacher's mistakes so that their peers may think them better. It's a validation at its most base, and I suggest you consider this. If truly the only way you can see yourself as better than others, it is through such trivial means, then you simply aren't good enough. If this is your assertion of power, then you are ultimately powerless. If the only rules you can break are unwritten and meaningless, and the only people you dominate are hapless, then you have nothing. People want to be special, they want to be better than others, they want to rule. But it's time you tried to become the ruler of something worth ruling. And do you want respect? Earn it. The easiest way to tell yourself that you're better than someone is to be better. Earn more, get promoted, higher, live in a superior home with superior interpersonal relationships. Let them look at you and know that they're lesser. No one with real power needs to scream it. I won't tell you that you're wrong to pursue the image of standing over others. People can't change who they are. I won't ask you to, but what I will ask you to do is to try harder. You're better than this.